Hi everyone, Crista Cowan here with another episode of The Barefoot Genealogist. It is time for our monthly edition of What's New at Ancestry. This is for May 2018. Now, right off the bat, you may notice one of the new things is we've got a little bit of a new look and feel. That's kind of fun. The other new thing is that it's Wednesday. So many of you know that I travel quite a bit. I speak at genealogy conferences and events all over the country. Sometimes I travel internationally, and that means that oftentimes I'm traveling home on Sunday or Monday or Tuesday, having been at a weekend event. And so that means getting videos recorded on Tuesday mornings has proven to be a big challenge with some of the changes to my schedule. So we are going to move the Barefoot Genealogist to Wednesdays. It is Wednesday today. We're going to move it to Wednesdays, and the videos are just going to be uploaded directly to the Ancestry YouTube channel. So the best piece of advice that I can give you is go to YouTube, do a search for Ancestry, find the Ancestry YouTube channel, and subscribe. What that means is that anytime a new video is uploaded, you will be notified, so you won't miss a single thing. Hopefully this will work better with my schedule. It'll work better with your schedule. As always, feel free to leave whatever comments in the video here on YouTube that you want. I do monitor those and respond to them as required or as I'm available to do that. Okay, let's talk about some genealogy conferences and events. I just got back from the National Genealogical Society's annual conference. It was held in Grand Rapids, Michigan. It was beautiful. There were 1,800 people or so there. There were some incredible classes. I actually had the opportunity to attend a few classes as well as teach a few classes. And so if you missed it, it's okay, because we have the opportunity to hear some of the recordings. So several of the conference sessions were recorded. So if you go to conference.ngsgenealogy.org, and under program, you're going to see a link for 2018 conference recordings. And that will take you to a website where you can order all of the sessions that were recorded and a bulk package, or you can order one-offs as it is something that is interesting to you. So that's important. I think you'll find some of those useful. I will give a plug for Elizabeth Schoen Mills. I attended one of her classes. I think I tweeted out about it. Blew my mind the way, and it always does when I go to her classes, but it just blew my mind the way that she uses evidence and the way that she finds information in records, then correlates it all together to come to a conclusion. She is the master at that, and I learned quite a bit from her session about that, about how to correlate evidence, indirect evidence, to come to a conclusion about the parents of a particular woman in the Midwest in a time before there were any records really that explicitly stated the name of the parents. It was just brilliant. So I highly recommend that particular presentation, but there were dozens of others that, I didn't get to attend a ton of them, but as I was working in the Ancestry booth at the event, I heard lots of feedback from people about the classes that they were attending, and lots of really good feedback. So that's the National Genealogical Society's recordings from their conference that just took place this last week in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Now, coming up very soon, the 31st of May through the 3rd of June, the Southern California Genealogical Society is having their Genealogical Jamboree. It's held in Burbank, California every year. It's at the Marriott Hotel and Convention Center, just right across the street from the Bob Hope Airport there in Burbank. The website is genealogyjamboree.com. And when you go to that website, you're going to see lots of colorful things. The conference this year, they've adjusted the dates a little bit. Typically it was Thursday through Sunday. This year it only goes through Saturday. There is pre-registration still available for the next couple of days. So if you're thinking about attending that conference, you're going to want to get on that. The first day of the conference, so Thursday, they're actually doing a few different things. They're doing the Genetic Genealogy Conference, where all the tracks are about using your DNA. to further your family history research. They're doing a family history writers conference, and actually I will be speaking at that with my mother. She's coming. My mom is an English professor and a writing teacher, and so she and I have put together a presentation about writing your family history. And then they do have some free events on that Thursday. And then, of course, the main conference, if you want to register just for that, runs all day Friday and all day Saturday. I am giving a couple of presentations at that. Ancestry will be in the exhibit hall. We'll be doing some in-booth demos. There will be some employees there from different areas of the company that you can talk to. So Jamboree, Southern California Genealogical Society, they always put on an excellent event. It is one of my favorites of the year. Hopefully we can see you there. Now, just a couple of notes about the two remaining major genealogical conferences for the year. The International Association of Jewish Genealogical Societies is holding their annual conference in Warsaw, Poland this year. It will be the 6th through the 10th of August. Again, I will be attending that. Ancestry will have a presence there. And so if you have Jewish ancestry, or if you just have non-Jewish Eastern European ancestry, there are classes lined up for that particular conference that would be really useful if that's something of interest to you. And then the Federation of Genealogical Societies is holding their annual conference in Fort Wayne, Indiana this year. Fort Wayne, of course, is the home of the second largest genealogical library in the world. I'm always very excited to go to Fort Wayne. And their conference will be the 22nd through the 25th of August this year. So August will be a very busy month for me. Not any, I guess, more or less busy than any other month, because these are the major events. There's also a lot of smaller local genealogical events. I'm speaking down in Las Vegas in a couple of weeks. I've got some events lined up in Florida. So I'll be in New York, lots of different local events. So be sure to check with your local or state genealogical society and just see what events they're hosting. I happen to know quite a few of the genealogical speakers, and they're all excellent educators, always an opportunity to learn something new there. Okay, let's talk about content highlights. So Ancestry added in the month of April more than 14 million records to the website. And we'll go through the highlights of some of these. For those of you who've never joined us for a What's New episode before, let me just show you where you can find that on the site. So if you go to Ancestry.com, click on Search, scroll down here to Card Catalog. And when you get to the card catalog, you can then sort that by date added, and that will put all the new stuff at the top of the list. So here you have this new tag that'll stay on there for about 90 days. You can hover over any given database on the list, and you'll get a little pop-up that tells you the exact date that we published that to the website. You can see how many records are included in any given collection there on the website as well. So let's just talk about a few of these. We're going to start with the Ireland Index to the Prerogative Wills. These date from 1536 to 1810. Now, very key word here in the title of this database is index. So these are not actual copies of the wills. This is an index to the wills. Ancestry will publish images wherever they're made available to us, but they're not always available to us for a variety of reasons. And so having the index as a genealogist is super valuable, because it means I know a record exists, and if I read this source information here, I can see exactly where Ancestry obtained this information, and I can understand a little bit more here in the database description so that I can actually then figure out how to get my hands on whatever original copy of that will that I need to be able to continue to do my research. So always pay attention to the title of the database. Where it's an index, we do try to tell you. The other clue about it being an index, over here you'll have a browse box, and in this case there is a browse box, but it just says index. So what you're going to be looking at is images of the original index that was provided to Ancestry. Sometimes you'll actually have images over here, and then you can browse your way through them just like you would a reel of microfilm. Now, next up this month, we have our New Zealand World War I service records. These date from 1914 to 1920. So during the period of World War I, and these are service records. And now you'll see over here, this browse box looks a little bit different. it actually allows you to browse your way down, and the browse structure for this particular set of records is by surname. So you just work your way through till you narrow it down to a section of the alphabet and then to a particular surname. And then when you get there and click on that, it will take you to the series of images that are available. Now, one of the things to know about service records, and this is important to understand about a lot of different kinds of records, very often they're going to be more than one page. So we will take you to the first page of that set of records, but then you need to check and see, are there additional pages in that record that pertain to that specific individual? And in the case of service records, I've seen a service record be anywhere from 1 or 2 pages to 80 or 90 pages or more. And so make sure that you've gone through all of them to make sure you've caught all the pages and all the documents pertaining to your particular individual. Lots of really great information in these service records about their military service, but also about their physical descriptions, about the campaigns that they served in, about the people that they served with in some cases, any injuries that they suffered. I mean, just these service records are really, really rich documents, and we have them now for New Zealand. We have some of them for the UK. Of course, here in the US, a lot of people may not be aware there was a fire in the 1970s in the Personnel Records Office, and about 80% of the Army service records for World War I, World War II, and the Korean War were destroyed in that fire, and then the subsequent water damage from putting the fire out. So I'm always fascinated by service records because there is such a dearth of them here in the United States. So these particular records, again, are for New Zealand World War I service records. Next up, we have added a collection of Swedish church records dating back to the 1600s. Now, Sweden, particularly Swedish churches, have kept meticulous records. Of course, you need to be familiar with the patronymic naming system. There's some nuances to Swedish research, just like there are nuances to Jewish research or African American research or Mexican research. Every different culture has their own nuances to their research. But if your research takes you back into Sweden, there are some basics that you need to start to familiarize yourself with. And actually diving into the records is a great way to start to familiarize yourself with that. And so playing around with them a little bit, seeing what comes up. Couple of things to note about these. I think there's about 5 or 6 different databases. They are done by specific location. I'm not even going to pretend to try to pronounce these. I am very not Swedish. I have been to Sweden. That doesn't count. But here is they're done by specific location. So like much research, wherever you happen in the world to be doing it, even here in the US, it's useful to know where somebody came from in a particular place so that you've got the right person or the right family. It also allows you to then search specific databases of records about that person or family. So these are broken up by location. The other thing that you need to be aware of is that they are in Swedish. So Ancestry has simply provided the records. We do not provide translation. I do have a video out there about doing research in a foreign language, and I'll just give you the highlight, which is that my favorite tip is Google Translate. I'll go to Google, just create a list of keywords that often come up in genealogical records, birth, marriage, and death records being the most prevalent, and we'll use that as a bit of a key to doing research in whatever foreign language I happen to find myself researching. So several databases of Swedish church records. Now, we also have now, and this is a huge collection, millions of records, from the U.S. Evangelical Lutheran Church here in America, Swedish American church records. These date from 1800 to 1946, so they cover this huge swath of time when there were a lot of immigrants from Sweden coming to the United States. They gathered in these congregations. Sometimes the congregations still spoke Swedish, and so some of the records or some of the information in the records may be in Swedish, but these are such valuable records. I've already used them for a research project that I was working on, and was able to break through tons of brick walls and find all the people in the family, because these records are really comprehensive around particular congregations. I will also note that these records are not just for the United States, they're also for Canada. So North America, not just US America. Okay, last but not least, we have added some records of marriages and deaths from Victoria, Australia. These are made available in conjunction with the Victoria Registry of Births, Deaths, and Marriages. You can see the death index, again, just an index, that's all that the state has made available to us, is from 1836 through 1988. And then the marriages run from 1837 through 1950. The births, of course, already online, but we have added marriages and deaths. So again, just an index. If you scroll down, you're going to see information about where Ancestry obtained these records. That is going to be the entity that you can go to get a copy of the original registry. And very often that registry will have additional information on it that the index does not contain. Okay, phew, we made it. That was a lot of new content, a lot of information about events going on. Hopefully this was useful information. Just a reminder, again, new episodes of The Barefoot Genealogist are going to be uploaded to the Ancestry YouTube channel on Wednesday afternoons. And so if you click subscribe on that YouTube channel, you will get notified when new videos are made available. I am hoping with this new Wednesday schedule, I'll be able to have something for you guys every week, but of course my travel schedule doesn't always allow that, but we're gonna do our best. If there's a topic you would like discussed, you can email me at ask@ancestry.com with those suggestions. Now, that's not a response email box, it's just a collection email box, so it's where I collect all your ideas and suggestions, and it allows me to then kind of sort through them every month or two as I'm putting together the list of topics for the next month's episodes of the show. So that's what that's all about. That is all I have prepared for you today. Until next time, this is Crista Cowan. Have fun climbing your family tree.